Hi, good morning.
Hi, teacher. Good morning.
Good morning, Miss.
Good morning. How are you guys today?
All fine so far.
Very good.
Yeah, a little sleepy.
I imagine. Did you have a class this morning before classroom management?
Yeah,
Yeah,
proficiency.
Okay. How was it? Good?
Yeah,
yeah.
with Berta.
Okay. All right.
Berta Reyes.
Okay. Very good teacher. Okay. Let me just let's just wait a little bit to see who else comes back
Uh-huh.
or joins us. Hi, Genesis. And then we can start with this. Did you guys have did you guys have a lot of well, for the first partial, like homework, or did you have quizzes or exams?
But in other subjects,
Hmm.
we had a lot of homework, and
Okay.
but about the quizzes, yeah, we have exam in all subjects.
No subjects. Okay, so kind of gets
Yeah.
like a mix. All right, very good. Okay, so I guess that we're gonna start so we don't lose, we don't waste any more time, and the rest can join us. All right.
Okay.
So last class we stopped in this part where I said that when we build rapport, we are trying to make a community inside of the classroom, outside of the classroom, as well, without crossing that line, right? Of I'm not your friend, but I'm friendly, and I'm still someone that you can talk to. Uh, Rapport. If I put it like it says in here, the definition would be harmonious, sympathetic relationship or connection um,
Between
between
people.
people. So it means in this case, you know what? It's me or it's you in this case. We have other people, maybe your classmates, teacher, but what is common between this is that we build a connection. This is where the rapport is going to be created or be built, let's say. That's why we have this in the Venn diagram. We have you, we have others, and then something that is common or that is going to be centered in this case, it's the connection that we built. Why do you
Mhm.
think this is important? Like if we put it like this, why do you think this is important?
Because it's a very clear view what we are looking for. I mean, the interconnection.
Exactly. So in this case, this Venn diagram is pretty much, as you mentioned, Alejandro, the clear view what we want to build in the classroom as a teacher, but also
Mhm.
with the students. Not only, again, it's not only me teacher with the students. I also want to make sure that they are connected. Maybe they don't have to be best friends. I don't want to create best friends, but you know what? I want to make sure that my classroom is a place for them to know. Okay, you can work. Andrea can work with Ulises without any problem. Alejandro can work with Genesis with no problem, and then so on, so on, so on. That's the connection. That's the community that we want to create, and they should feel that way.
Mhm.
Have you ever been in a classroom talking about your experience, not only as a teacher but as a student? Have you ever been in a classroom where this happens when you were studying or something?
Well, I do remember this kind of diagram when I had a class in mathematics in junior high school. The teacher was explaining to us the set theory and dealing with sets. these kind of diagrams are used. And the one that appears in the middle is the intersection between two sets.
Okay.
So it's a common diagram in a topic of mathematics, which is called set of theory.
All right. Okay. So again, it's, I guess that it's the, like, what it's in the middle is what is the result of one another, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the same thing here. If we talk about connection and between you and others, what's going to be the result is that there is going to be a connection. And again, that's especially, and again, I'm going to refer to English classes. When you work with students who are learning English, that's what you want. Because you know what? Imagine if all of us, I'm your English teacher and you're my English learners. If I put Alejandro with, I don't know, let's say Dana, for example, but I know that Dana is a little bit more advanced and Alejandro, he can speak, he understands, but he still is at a lower level. If there is no connection, Dana is not going to help him, and Alejandro is not going to speak because there is no connection. So it means that my job as a teacher in building that relationship with each other has not been working, because it happens. You know what? Dana, she might be at an advanced level. Alejandro still, he's getting there, but you know what? Dana doesn't want to work. That's where connection just doesn't happen, and learning in the end is not going to happen. I don't know if you have ever had a situation like that, where you have, let's say, Dana, and then you have Alejandro, but again, maybe Dana, the student, is a little bit more advanced, and Alejandro is at the level he's supposed to be. And you know what? This doesn't happen. Have you ever had something like that?
But teacher, when you are forming those pairs, do you have to explain that if somebody needs a kind of help, the other one can give him?
Not necessarily, because maybe what I want, if, for example, if I know that, you know what, it's true, Dana is a little bit more advanced, and I know Alejandro, he is at the level he's supposed to, and I know Dana can push him to speak more, I put them together. But if the connection, if I know that the whole group are friendly to each other, or they are friends, if you want to call them like that, I know that Dana is not going to have any problems helping Alejandro.
Mm-hmm.
If I know that the students are like that, but imagine if I put, I don't know, Aster with Dana, and both of them are advanced students, but they don't like each other, they are not going to help each other. They are not going to speak. Maybe they are going to do the activity, but that's it. And it happens that you say, I don't know, Dana and Aster, you two work together and whatever, and they just like do 2 or 3 sentences, and then that's it. They keep quiet because there is no connection. And that's, again, if we go back to classroom management and classroom layout, planning in this case, you need to be aware as a teacher. You need to be aware, you know what, I know that Aster and Dana, they don't have a connection. It's not going to happen. So I try to think, you know what, no, forget it, I'm not going to put them together. But I can tell another student, you know what, help him if he has questions, but not necessarily, unless you want them to actually help him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can ask them. I have asked my students, when I put them again in when they are like mixed levels, I do sometimes ask the ones that are a little bit more advanced, you know what, help him, or make them speak, because that's what happens. They don't know how to speak, and then, ay, teacher, es que no sé cómo se dice. O sea, I'm not asking you like to do something very advanced. Just participate, and then the other person can push. That's when when pushing helps. Okay.
Okay.
Now, all right, we have this box. Who can help me read this part?
I can read it. We can think of rapport in the classroom as an invisible web, unseen but mutually recognizable connections binding teachers and students together.
Okay, so what do you guys understand by this? I mean, this would be like the web, but what do you guys understand with this paragraph or this box?
I think it was like at the beginning of the presentation that you told us what is rapport for you, and probably most of us we didn't recognize the word or we didn't know what were you talking about. So like it says there is not
Recognizing?
recognizable, recognizable, but it's there. But you don't know that was that name. The name was rapport.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So pretty much, if I put it like the way you were saying, you knew that it was something like either be friends or have like a connection or work together, but in the end, that all of that is rapport. So for example,
I would probably name it teacher-student relationship, and that's it.
yeah.
Mhm.
And then we have to also include like it's student as well. So yeah, pretty much is something that we don't see, but we do see, because I have to put a classroom. I have to, if I compare the classroom where, for example, I just tell you, you know what, I'm going to read, you take notes, and then that's it, you go home. But
Teacher,
no, yeah.
but I think that students, talking about student,
Mhm.
is not a rapport. I think that is more like a friendship or something. Because rapport is more than like a connection, but about work.
Yes, the thing is that the thing is that, again, rapport in the classroom, I do have to work. The thing is that sometimes your students, not all of your students are going to be friends.
Oh yeah.
So not all of them. Maybe, I mean, if the group is very small, yes, why not? But if we talk about big groups, or if we talk about groups where you have adults and then you have teenagers, they are not going to be friends. But you can build rapport in the classroom or work to build rapport so that they can have a connection where they can work together. The idea is to create that connection so they can work, especially, again, and I'm talking about English classes, because sometimes you have students who are 18, then you have 25, 30, 40 40-year-old students, and they are not at the same age. They don't like the same things, so it's difficult to say, they are friends, because I mean, the age gap. But
Mhm.
if you create that connection for them to see, you know what, this is a community for you to learn, that's it. If you're friends outside, good. If not, well, in here you're going to have that connection. That's when they work, and that's when learning happens. And again, maybe they don't see like it says in here, like this web, because it's really invisible. It's something that we have to work every class. It's not only first class getting to know you and then that's it, forget it. No, so it's little by little, every class, because that's going to give them that sense of community. Because if you do it only one day, then I mean, that's just going to be forgotten. So the idea, what I can say is that rapport is every day in different in different stages, or in different uh, portions, if you want to call it like that as well. So it's not necessarily friendship, but it's more like the connection that teacher student have, but also students, because in the end, what you want is for them to do everything, not you. I mean, you are only like the carrier of the topics or the structures or something. But what you want is them work. So that's why it's not necessarily friendship, but you friendship can be a result if there is good rapport. So it's part of it. I don't know if anyone else has another comment about this.
I think that whenever we need to be working in group, we will always need rapport to get success.
Definitely. I don't know. In here, I guess that I I want to say that there is good like connection between all of you guys. I can see that all of you guys are helping each other. Either when you're separated in breakout rooms or when you are maybe asking information about homework or something. So I think that there is good rapport between you guys. But have you ever worked with talking about previous classes or other classes in groups? You know what the teacher tells you, you know what, Alejandro, Andrea, Pepito, you three work together. Have you ever had that experience where like speaking or like the job that you have to do, the work you have to do just doesn't happen, or no?
Yeah, kind of.
Yes.
So what happens when that happens? Like what happens to you guys when that situation occurs?
Um, I just feel like I'm doing all the work.
So
Or I'm the only one talking.
yeah.
Like I feel like I'm talking to a wall.
That there is like no compromise for the other person because we are like a team and it's like, yeah, well, anyway, and don't like really like look for me with that. Or because we have to do the homework and I do everything. And that is what I kind of sometimes I don't like to work in teams because it's like I want to do that, but the other person is like, doesn't matter. And then I have to do everything
Exactly.
because I it's important for me my grade, not because, for example, like Fulanito doesn't want to work with me, I will have to the same or I will lose like the good grade just because he or she doesn't want to work with me.
Or maybe we like to work together, but with the people we know that is
Mhm.
going to work.
Yeah, with the
Exactly.
people that kind of has like our own, no, or same like
Goal.
their things or goals.
Exactly. So in this case, for example, that would be the difference between, and I'm not saying that again, it's really impossible for me to say everyone is going to have a connection, a friendly connection at least. It's difficult because we are talking about personalities, we're talking about goals, as you're saying, but as teachers, like we still have to make sure to identify who we want them to work with, because then it happens exactly what you guys say, what your girl said. It's just that I do like to work in teams, but if I work with Pedro and Pablo, they're not going to do anything. So maybe it's not that they don't like them, but the connection is not there. So that's the difference between, you know what, I'm going to work with um, Eric and Sandra because I mean we're definitely gonna communicate and we're definitely gonna do something. So that's the difference between a group with connection and then a group with no connection. Okay? And it's the same with English students. So if you put Eric, Armando, and Diego together, let's say, but I know that Armando is the one who speaks more, he's not going to want to speak to work with them because they are not going to speak because there is simply not connection. So those are like the things that we have to think, and unfortunately it's something that happens a lot in the classroom, that the teacher doesn't just want to work with that. They think that it's just open your book, check what I have in the presentation, and that's it. But it's not true. I mean, the students are also people, and the students are also going to have people, other people who they don't want to work with, and you have to create, even if it's on, even if it's a course of 5 weeks, you still have to build rapport, because that's going to be the center, like the connection is going to give them that sense of community that is all together, not only me, and that's it. That,
Miss,
mhm.
I have a question, but it's like we have to like tell them like, hey, you have to work, because I don't know, I think it depends of the person, how is like the attitude and everything. Because for example, I just remember when Andrea Torres like arrived, she was like, hey, how are you, like so friendly, and it's like, okay, so she is like this before we know. Okay, so it's like if I tell Andrea, like if we are in a group and I tell Andrea this and that, I know that Andrea is going to like um word or accept like the things that I'm telling. But for example, let's say that Fulanita, Miguelita is like, no, like I don't doesn't have like that connection with me,
Mhm.
and I want, like I want to have like a connection, like to tell her like the things and this and that, but it's like I mean, like she doesn't like want to talk. We as
Mhm.
a teacher, we have to like, hey Fulanita, you have to like work, or you have to talk with your classmates and this and that. We have to, it's like kind of like our obligation, or it's like depending of the students, because we want to have like rapport, but if the students like doesn't want to.
That they don't want to. Yeah, sometimes it happens that I would say, if talking about teenagers and then adults, because it happens with adults as well. You have this student who simply, like, either she arrives late, uh, she thinks she knows everything, or he or she, they just like are in another thing. And then you have this other student who, you know what, she wants to learn, she wants to study, she wants to speak or whatever, and you put them together. You have to tell them, you know what, everything everything comes from the instruction, and then what you want them to do. If they understand from the instruction that you give them, with an example and what you want them to do, they are going to do it. But if you know, the thing is that sometimes we cannot force the report, and that's completely okay, because I am also not going to push them to be together if definitely, I mean, they are not going to work. But I know that at least from the 10 students that I have, the two of them are just not going to be like, they don't simply have a connection, because maybe Pedrita did something or said something that upset Miguelita, and they are just simply not getting there. So what am I going to do? I don't put them together, at least not in activities where they have to like really do something that is going to maybe have an impact in their learning. That's why planning ahead comes. If it's only, you know what, have a 20-second conversation, okay, fine, do it, they are going to speak. But if it's something that I know that it's going to create a lot of problems, as a teacher, I'm not going to do it. One, because I'm not going to force that connection, because in here again, maybe their role in the classroom is either the same or they are just clashing. So what's going to happen if that happens with them? Then it's like an infection, right? Everything in the classroom is going to be infected. So I don't force the connection, but I do make sure to know, you know what, for this activity, I'm just not gonna put them together. And with experience or with the time, you learn how to do it. It's not something that you're going to be able to do it at the beginning. But as especially in an English class, again, I'm talking about an English class. If you know that from the first day they simply didn't, because this one was making comments that this one didn't like, forget it. I'm just going to put them when it's necessary if I don't have other students, but like as a last resort. uh, because again, similar to like an infection or a virus, if that happens with them, it's going to spread in the classroom. Not that they don't like each other, but like that, that like the feeling of, you know what, it's just that, what are they going to do, like how is it going to result. So just don't force it, and try to avoid put them together, because you're talking about the role of the students. You're talking about the personality. If they are at the same level talking about a role, then it's simply not going to
Like too much.
match. Yeah, it's like we said, like stira, like the tira y afloja in Spanish. Like it's like that. They are not going to let loose if they have the same role. So again, it comes with experiencing with different, or working with different students. But in the end, it's also, you know what, you need to, something that I tell students and I tell teachers when I train them, you need to remember their names, the students' names, but you also need to remember their faces. It's difficult. It's really difficult, because maybe sometimes you have a group that is very big, or you just start mixing them. But when you know that, when you know the name, when you remember the face, they are going to, rapport is going to grow a little. And then the activities that you give them every day or every class, is going to increase until they have this connection that creates the community. And that's what they like. They don't tell you as a teacher, but the students, that's what they like, that they can work with other people with no problem. So I mean, that's the idea. um, I can tell you what happened to me, maybe, I guess at the beginning of the year, maybe, I don't remember, with with a group of students that I had. It was a small group, but I had this student. Her name, I'm gonna put, I don't know, Pedrita, let's say. And Pedrita, she thought that she knew everything in English, like that she was an expert, and that Miguelita and Juanita, they were just no. But in reality, they were at the same level because they were level 1. So, I mean, but you know what? Pedrita, she thought she was like the boss. So as we continue, like the group started to grow. I had different students, different levels, but they were still level 1. So when I put, by accident, like literally it was an accident that I put Pedrita and Juanita together, I was like, I mean, that's what I thought, right? Like, oh, like that's just not gonna work. And I was just looking at the others, and Pedrita and Juanita were literally like this. They were like on their phone, not because they didn't want to work. The thing is that they didn't want to work with each other. So, I mean, I just told them, hey, let's get to work. Oh, yes, teacher. And they literally finished in 10 seconds. Like they just read the questions, and yes or no, and then that's it. So it's not that I didn't like build rapport, it's just that they don't like each other. So, but when I put them together, I totally forgot. They were like the last people who I put together. So it was like, and and what do you do? Again, that's where experience comes. You're just like, okay, let's stop. And now I want Juanito with Pedro, and you just mix them together. It, like mix them again. But it happens. I mean, you forget, but that's why you plan ahead. But again, in the end, we just don't force them together, right? Any other comment that you would like to make about this? Okay. Okay, I want someone to help me read the pink box and then another person who helped me read the blue box.
Okay, I will start, teacher. Rapport has to do with empathy, understanding where other people are coming from, appreciating their point of view, seeking to develop and maintain a connection with them.
Okay, who would like to help to read this one?
Me. Rapport is a relationship between people with unequal levels of power, the person in power offering something of themselves to others.
So again, we're talking about connection between the people, and in this case, what is behind or in between all of those things. So in here, like it says in the green box, it says, this reflects a classroom situation where teachers can choose to remain distant or aloof, like I'm just like there, or seek to establish a bond with their group. So this, if I am as a teacher, if I am very aware of what rapport can do to my class and to the students, I'm going to work with this. But if I decide to be distant, like if they don't like to work, if their problem, I'm just here to tell them open your book and then that's it. That's going to be the difference. So this is what rapport, where rapport kind of like wraps everything. So you have two teachers. You have the teacher who wants to establish the connection, or you have the teacher who is going to be distant. So that's like, in this case, what kind of teacher would you like to be? The one that is distant, sorry, or the one that wants to create that connection?
Seek to establish a bond.
So to establish a bond. And again, you have to be aware of all of this and all of this. When you, the way I see it, I know that we talk about mixed levels or mixed level students, or that one student might be a little bit more advanced, another one might be a little bit lower. And I know that we have a role in every class, in every group, sorry. But still, rapport is going to, in the end, is going to tell you, you know what? No one is more than the other. All of you guys are the same to me, because I know that you work like this. But if I start thinking, Andrea, Hassan, Andrea, and Genesis are the ones who are like the top, but then these others are just no. When I make that difference, then I'm not going to establish any connection. So that's why, and I tell them, not only like students like you, for example, from Lily, but also to my English students, because that's, I mean, I sometimes have to tell them, all of you guys are the same. There is no like more than the other. And in this case, it's understanding. And this one is very important because I never had a problem with this, but this is very important. I have to appreciate the point of view of whoever wants to say something. It's what I told you from the beginning. If you speak and it's correct or it's not correct, like, it's okay. At least I know that you're trying to say something from what you understand. And in the end, I'm going to tell you if it's correct or not, but it's going to be there. So as a recommendation, not only from teacher, student, but for future teachers, appreciate whatever point of view they say. Like, don't argue with anyone. Again, not only teacher student, but as future students who you're students, as future teachers that you're going to be, appreciate whatever point of view they have. And then if they are correct or not, you tell them, but using wise words. That's a recommendation that I can tell you because they are expressing whatever they want to express. Okay?
Teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and what happens when you as a teacher don't like some student? You know, but the last semester I remember that I talked with Aster about I feel that I don't like to a teacher, something like that.
Okay, that a teacher doesn't like you as a student.
Yeah,
Okay.
I Aster said like no, yeah, you're wrong, yeah. And like, but I feel like I don't know,
Like probably
and
her attitude with him or so.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I like the class and
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's an interesting question. I guess as teachers, we have. I'm going to put more like in context English students because I haven't really had a lot of like Lely students, let's say, but I have had more English students. So it happens at least every whatever number of courses that I have one student that I don't particularly like. It happens, but that's when as a teacher you need to know, you know what, well, if I don't like him or her attitude, more like anything, like the attitude perhaps, um it doesn't matter, like at least to me it's not going to matter, and it doesn't matter to me because what I in the end what I want is for them to learn. That's my way to work, because I have had students who I'm like when I before I go to class or even after, because whatever activity happened or something, I'm like Miguelito or Pedrito, like but to myself. But I don't really show it. Like something that I really in the end do is like make sure that everybody works. And what I want, again, this is me, what I want them is to learn, even if I don't like them. Like that, those feelings, they to me they have to go and wait until I finish my class, because if you get with if you go inside of the classroom with that thought in mind, you're going to not only the student is going to maybe have that perception or like literally think, you know what, Ila simply doesn't like me, but he's going to maybe tell another student, and then the other student is going to be like, I'm going to see if what he says is true, because maybe she doesn't like him, and then it's going to create a lot of situations in the classroom. But even if you don't like one student, it shouldn't reflect, I guess that's the word that I want to say, that dislike for the student shouldn't reflect in the classroom, and not when you speak to him or to her, not when you are listening to him or to her, because then I mean they are going to see you as an enemy or whatever. I don't know any other synonym of enemy, but like they are going to see you like an enemy, like, or maybe just simply they are not going to come back or simply they are not going to learn, and in the end that affects you as a teacher. But yeah, I mean, I would say that don't reflect and forget about that dislike for the student until you finish the class, and then you can continue disliking him or her, because sometimes mm, you also have to remember, again, I'm talking about English students. Unfortunately, you also need to remember that the students are also paying for a service, right? So they're paying for a service, and the service is they want to learn English. Who is going to be the provider? The teacher. The teacher is going to be the one who's going to teach him or her English. So you need to be aware of that, because then your job is on jeopardy. Because what? Maybe the coordinator, maybe the principal is gonna be like, nah, Hilda, she she is fighting with the student, or she doesn't know. I don't want that in my class. I don't want that in my school. Sorry. So I mean, those are like things that you need to think in advance. But I would say just don't reflect. If you really, 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 really don't like the student, don't reflect, because it's impossible. It's impossible to like everyone. I mean, we have to be honest. We cannot like everyone, but I'm still going to build that rapport as much as possible. I mean, I still have to create that connection to make sure that my goal is him or her learn and speak English, and his goal is to continue with another level, and that's it. But at least I know that whatever we connected in the class, it was enough for him or for her to speak English and to continue. But yeah, because it's difficult. I mean, if I don't know how many students. Well, I don't really have a lot of students who I don't like or who I didn't like in the past. But mm, I think that when you start teaching like a lot of courses, you're going to see, maybe it's not that you don't like them, but maybe it was an attitude that they had that makes you like, I don't want to have that class again. So sometimes it's that, but well, you in the end that we cannot really reflect that. Okay.
At the end, she gave me a good grade, and she sent me a message like what is, she said like, if you need something, let me know and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you know
Maybe it
what?
was my perception,
Yeah. The
I
thing
don't
is
know.
that the thing is that I have to be honest. Like maybe sometimes our minds, they are going to play a lot of tricks, uh, because it happens to me a lot. Like I'm like I think I don't know. For example, talking about teacher students, I start thinking like, you know what? I don't know. Aste and Dana, they don't like me. They are not going to. They are not going to want to learn with me. They don't like me, and I start to tell like other teachers who work here at Lely, like, I don't think they like me. You know what? Like, I don't know. But it's perception, and
Mm-hmm.
our mind plays a lot of tricks, sometimes a lot. but but in the end, as a student or as a teacher, I guess I can tell you that, because those are feelings. I mean, in the end, those are feelings. So, or emotions. So we have to kind of like forget a little bit about that, and do something in like in the classroom is a whole other world. Like it's this other community that you're trying to connect to build. And if maybe outside you don't like him or her, or vice versa, that's outside. At least inside of the classroom, this community that you're building is shelf. It's nobody else is going to come in. Nothing is going to happen. This is what I tell my English students. This is a safe zone. Forget about the rest, and then that's it. Again, if you don't like him or if they don't like you, it's like, well, but at least I know that we are making this connection work in the classroom.
So, teacher,
Yeah.
do you think you should never bring it up then? Like, if you feel tension with a student or with a teacher, you shouldn't ever ask them. Like, hey, teacher, I feel tension between us. Do you have a problem with me, or have I done something to offend you? Should you ask or no? Just let it go.
Yes, but not in front of everyone. Like, well, yeah. If you really feel like in a way it's going to affect you, you have that feeling or you have that thought that in the end it's going to affect somehow. You can tell, you know what, Andrea, can I talk to you for a little bit? Is there something? Because I have noticed that maybe this and that, but you need to be very aware of what you're going to tell the student or what you want to tell the teacher. You need to point out exactly what you have seen so that they can be like, ah, no, teacher, it's just that I had a family problem, or yeah, it's just that I felt that. And that's, again, that's rapport. So you can tell them, you can address that, but make sure everybody leaves and it's just like face-to-face moment where, okay, let's talk about what I noticed, but make sure you point out exactly what you have seen so that they can be like, ah, okay, like, no, no, yeah, or this happened, it's just that I did this and you said this, and those, like, those things are going to that is going to work in the end. But sometimes, again, maybe something happened in their house or whatever, and then it continued in the class. So you can definitely address that, but make sure that it's just like one on one. You know what? Forget about the rest. Let's just have this moment for us, and let's have a discussion. But make sure you point out exactly what happened, so that they don't feel also like they are being attacked. Because if you tell them, you know what, I think that you don't like me, like, whoa, why,
Yeah.
why, or what are you talking about? Um, but yeah, I mean, you have to do that, and you also have to be aware that there are going to be students who, even though you speak to them, they are going to be rude, or they are going to be angry for some reason, or they simply are going to be making fun of what you say. But then that is their attitude, and that's when you try to escalate the situation and you go to the coordinator or the supervisor, whoever is in charge, so that they are aware of that. So you can definitely address that, but make sure that you are pointed out exactly what you have seen so that they have evidence. Or even you as a student, you want to tell the teacher the same thing. I can tell you the same thing. Have the evidence or whatever you want to show the teacher, or to tell the teacher, so that the teacher can be like, ah, okay, so how can I, let's see how we can work together to bring a solution or something. So that's something that I also that's also something that I tell my students, the English students, again, because I work a lot more with English students. uh, I try to create an environment in a zone where they can feel it's okay to tell me what to change, or what to continue, or what to stop doing, and also me telling them, you know what, let's do this. I tell them especially now that we're working with them for a couple of courses, I tell them, what do you want me to continue doing? What do you want me to stop doing? What do you want me to change? And if there is good rapport, they are going to tell you. Okay? I don't know if you have any other question with this. No? All good?
I think, like a final opinion, that as a teacher, you will always need a lot of patience, and the rapport to me is something like a kind of mirror that you have to be always watching on to make the proper corrections.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think patience is going to be a friend as a teacher, definitely, because if you don't have patience and you don't remember that students are different every group, every course or whatever, then I mean, what do you have? So patience and rapport, and then what is in between are the things that are going to help you a lot as a teacher. Talking about classroom management, because then you have to think about planning and activities and engaging. So this is basically talking about classroom management, but then you have to add the lesson plans and the rest and the rest and the rest. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna let you go right now because it's already 9:40 and I don't wanna continue talking because I can speak and speak. So for now, that's it. I am going to put an assignment. I haven't posted the assignment in the platform, so I'm gonna do it today. But it's going to be until this one is going to be for you guys to upload until Saturday 17th. So you're gonna have the whole week. Okay. I'm going to send you the picture of the assignment in Remind via Remind, but it's going to be in the platform today later. Okay.
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 Thank you,
Okay.
Miss.
So whatever questions you have, you can ask me via Remind, and if not, we'll see each other next Wednesday.
Okay. Thank you, teacher.
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
Miss.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
teacher.
Thank you. Have a
Bye-bye.
wonderful weekend.
Same to
You
you.
too.
Thank
You
you,
too.
Miss.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.